everyone, this video is going to help with section 2-3 in the 8th grade, or it could end up, I share this with a different class, but what this is going to focus on is solving equations that require you to use the distributive property in the middle of the equation. So let me give you start with a little easier example and then we'll work our way up to a little bit harder. So here's my first example. What if I have something like 4 times x minus 3 equals 7. All right, so here's my equation, and I have a distributive property on the left side. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to distribute the 4. That just means times the 4 by both terms. That gets rid of my parenthesis. So I'm going to do 4 times x, which is 4x. 4 times 3, or you could think of it as a negative 3, would give us a minus or a negative 12. Equals 7. So I distribute it on the left. Then I look, can I add any like terms to make the left side any more reduced? No, because I can't add an x and a number. So this is as reduced as the left side will go. And obviously the right side doesn't have any reducing because it's a number 7. So from here, I always have to do what's away from the letter first, so I'm going to add the 12 over to the 7 first. So add that 12 to both sides so that it cancels on the left, and all I'm left with is that 4x, bring down my equal sign, and 7 plus 12 is 19. So now I have 4 times what is 19? Well, this is like a times, and always my last step is either division or multiplication. So you're adding and subtracting things together until the last step. And then I'm going to divide by a 4 on both sides. Well, on this side, they become 1x, which is my goal. I want to find out what 1x is, or x. I get lazy and don't write the 1. So it's just 19/4. That's it. You can change it to a mixed fraction if you want, but 19/4 is fine. I can't reduce that because 19 isn't divisible by anything. So, the only thing that goes into 4 is 2, and that doesn't go into 19, so we're done. And we could double check this. This is a great time to use a calculator. You could go back and put 19/4 in your calculator. So you do that as 19 divided by 4. Subtract the 3, times that by 4, and you better get 7. Okay? So yes, you can use a calculator especially to check your work. So let's try one that has a few more steps in it. Okay, so but if I have 2, and then let's try x plus 3 minus 4 equals 2x minus, oops, I can't do that. That's going to make one with no solution. That's what I get for randomly making it up. Let's make that a 3. 3x minus 4. So here's a random equation. So on the left side, I see parentheses that need to be get rid of them, right? So I need to do the distributive property. On the right side, I don't see any distributive property. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to times the 2 by both terms. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. I still have that minus 4 equals 3x minus 4. So all I did was times the 2 by both terms, and I'm here. Now look on just this left side. I do have 2 regular numbers that can be combined together. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So I really am going to have 2x plus 2 equals 3x minus 4. Now, from here, it's similar to the last section. I got to get those x's together. So I'm going to minus, and I could go this way or this way. There's a lot of ways you can go on these equations. I just try to give you like a basic way. I always like to go to the left. So I'm going to minus my 3x over to the 2x so that I can combine my x's together on the left side. So I like to go to the left. Those are gone. 2 minus 3 is negative 1x. I don't have to write that 1. Plus the 2. Bring down my equal sign. So when I keep the 4, I have to keep the 4 as a negative because you're minusing it off, or it's a negative 4. So watch for that. Now I have like basically a two-step equation. So I got to get rid of the number by the x first, which is a minus 2 to both sides. Now I have negative 1x, or I could write that as just negative x. Either one, the one in front kind of confuses people, but either way, these are gone. So I have the equals a negative 4 minus 2 more. Think of that on a number line. I'm already at negative 4. You already owe me $4. Now you took away $2 more from me. So negative 4 minus more, you add the numbers and keep the sign. So now it's minus 6. So that's another common error. Another common error is just to stop here. I'm done. And they don't realize it's negative x. I don't want a negative x. I want x. What does the number x, not negative x? So here you're just going to switch the signs of both sides. Or you could think of it as I'm timesing both sides by negative 1 or dividing by negative 1. Either way, so I'm going to divide by negative 1 on both sides because division is what we usually see here. That might be easier. So you can see a negative over a negative would change to a positive x. Negative over a negative will change to a positive 6. So I just basically went from negative and negative to positive and positive. Or if this would have been a positive 6, it would have become a negative. So that last step of dividing by a negative is just going to change the signs of your number and your x. Okay, and then in your homework, it does still bring up some two-step with fractions. So make sure if you're adding anything that you get a common denominator. I did find there was 2 problems in the last homework that has the answer key wrong for 8th grade. So do be careful. I mean, work it out, and if you think it's wrong, just write that on your homework and I'll check it for you. I'm just glancing through the homework. You have to set up some equations. Maybe I should do one of those for you. They do one with fractions. Let's do, I have your homework up, but I don't want to do the exact homework problem. Let's do one that has fractions in it. I'm going to show you basically like my shortcut way. So let's see here. I'm going to copy one like your homework, but I'm going to change the numbers. Minus x equals, let's do x over 8 minus 1/2. Okay, so if I have an ugly equation like this, first of all, I have x, 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 and of course they put some like this in the distributive section, which is kind of why I'm making a video for you, because I can't find a video that has the fractions and the distributive property all in one video. So here's my shortcut way. You can actually multiply each term by a common denominator. So right now, look at all of your fractions denominators. I have a 4, I have an 8, and I have a 2. So what number that's either equal or bigger than these 3 numbers do all 3 of them divide into? That's a common denominator. So 4, 8, and 2 all divide into 8, or you can times all 3 of them together if you can't think of something and use that. So the common denominator is equal to 8 in this one. I'm going to times 8 by all terms. So times it by everything. This is the biggest mistake on this shortcut, and this gets rid of all of your fractions. And it basically just makes your equation look prettier and is a very efficient way to deal with fractions in an equation. So I'm going to take 8 and I'm going to times it by here, 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 and here. So let's write that out. 8 times 3/4 x minus 8 times x equals 8 times x over 8 minus 8 times 1/2. If I went too fast, you can pause to write this down if you want it in your notes. So then from here, I'm going to divide the 4 into 8. That's going to give me 2. 2 times 3 is 6x. 6x minus 8 times x is just 8x. All right, here the 8 divided into 8 is 1. 1 times x is x, or 1x. Minus, bring down the minus sign, 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 1 is 4. All right, here's where I'm at now. What looks prettier, this one or this one? Yeah, I like this one way better. All I've really done is make it look different, but it'll have the same solution as this one. Okay, cool thing to do with fractions. And it only works with equations. You can't just multiply a random fraction problem by 8 and get rid of them. So unfortunately, only works when you have an equal sign. So on the left side, I can combine like terms. These are both x's. 6 minus 8 would give us negative 2 x's equals x minus 4. Then I have to minus this x over so that those x's are on the left side. So it's like minus 1x minus 1x. They cancel here. Negative 2 minus one more. Again, they're both negative and you're adding them. So you're going to get negative 3x equals negative 4. Okay. Last step is that division. Divide by the negative 3 on both sides. And x equals negative 4 or negative 4 over negative 3, which we can do one more step of getting rid of those double negatives. And so we really just have 4/3 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And that's it. That's our reduced form. You don't need to put 1 and 1/3. 4/3 is fine. Man, how would I check that? With a calculator, right? I'd go back up. I'd take 3/4 times 4/3 minus 4/3 equals 4/3 divided by 8 minus 1/2. These two sides will equal each other. So using a calculator to check those and you'll get a decimal, that's fine. It's a great way to check your answer. Okay, let's see. I was just looking, okay. So here's one like, what if I say, if you have, or if, can you see that? Yeah. If you take, I don't know, 1/10 of a number and add 2, you get 12. Let x represent your original number. How would I write this as an equation and then solve it? So if you take 1/10 of a number and add 2, you get 12. How do I write that? How do I write 1/10 of a number? Well, of in math means times. So it's like 1/10 of is times. If I have a fraction and I want to figure out the fraction of something it is, I times. So it'll be 1/10 times my variable. I'm going to use an x and add 2 and you get, so your solution would be 12. So that's how I would set up this one. Now, I only have one fraction, so this one's pretty easy to solve without multiplying by a common denominator. I can, though, multiply 10, 10, 10. Super easy to do. No more fraction. Or I can say, okay, well, I'll minus 2. And I can say, okay, 1/10 x equals 10. Right? 12 minus 2 cancels here. Now 1/10, to divide by 1/10, you flip it and multiply. So I'm really going to get x is going to equal the 10 that's already here, and I'm going to times it by the flipped over version, which is 10/1. So it's 10 times 10, which is 100. Okay, so I could have times by 10 on each of these terms. That would have worked. I would have had x plus 20 equals 120. I would have minus the 20 and I would have got 100. I got 100. So you can still work with fractions, especially if it's got whole numbers in there too, and then you just have to flip. So if the only fraction is by the x, it's not too hard because you just flip it and multiply. So just a little shortcut, but yeah, you can go from words of means times, you get would be where your equal is. So hopefully that'll help you. You only have a couple word problems that make you put it into an equation. All right, so hopefully this helped you with the distributive property in equations. All right.